Alright, August 25th, back on the Coosa area that burned on, I think, June 12th. Just kind of a follow-up. I'm trying to hit the spots that I hit before while it was burning, just to kind of show the results. 2 months later, you know, the gum and the brush has pretty much died back. What's still alive is obviously not going to die anymore, but most of that smaller underbrush is taken care of. You got a pretty good, where there's some sunlight back in the woods, got a pretty good coverage of grasses and legumes. Where there's a high shade factor, it's pretty much pine straw, but at least it's not pine straw with sweet gums over top of it. What's amazing to me is how well a lot of these legumes like to burn that time of year. One of my big concerns was that legumes would be damaged by these June, July, August fires. It seems like your two big things that like it is legumes and grasses. Two good plants. There's some galactia. There's some partridge peas. Amazing that partridge peas come back in June. Now those ain't really going to get big enough to seed out, but they're there. And the ground's just covered up with little small legumes. With there's more sunlight, you know, you'd get a lot more of them growing back. But you know, nice coverage of legumes and grasses. Some of these other spots will have a little bit more sunlight on them, but canopy scorch is minimal, if any at all. Alright, this was one of the other spots that burned through. And it's not greened up like a winter burn would be. Vegetation's a little bit short, but it is a fairly well stocked stand. It's a big long leaf. There's a lot of shade out here, but nice little growth of various weeds, some goldenrods, some broom straws. Like I say, quite a few legumes. But even a spot like that, quite a bit of sun in the morning anyways. Doesn't have a whole lot of vegetation growing up on it. Can't really see it, but that whole hillside over there is all burned off. But if you're a critter, plenty of food out here for you. Ragweed, milk peas, desmodiums. I think some of them got enough time to get some seeds put on them. A lot of these little oak sprouts and wax myrtle and stuff knocked back pretty good. Some of them are trying to resprout, but there's a beautyberry that's resprouting. But I mean, even a sweet gum like that, there's not many of those, but that sweet gum has not tried to resprout, which is good. You'll see a little oak sprout there that's got a resprout on the base. And I've seen quite a few sweet gums that are coming back from the base again, but it's a surprising amount of stuff that hadn't tried to resprout. Just a solid mat of some type of prostrate Lespedeza all over the ground. Let's look at these little bushes. There's a significant amount of them that have not resprouted. I think you're getting a higher mortality with some of these small oak sprouts than we are with the sweet gum, but of course the blackberries have all resprouted, and the grapes, partridge pea, have all resprouted. Well, there's a sweet gum right there. You can see that's a little resprout on the base of it. But we got some mortality, which is kind of what we're after. Knock it back and get at least some mortality on them. And there's an occasional bigger sweet gum or something like that, or oak. There's an oak right there that's 30 foot tall, that's scorched at the base, that knocked it back. But most of it is less than about 15 foot tall. Got those. And in these, look in there, you can see about a 10 foot scorch level, and some of the bigger stuff is not scorched out. But all depends on where it's at, how much fuel is on the ground. And this was the last spot. I was trying to get a head fire running up this hill right here. And it burned through all right. You can see even it got into the brushy hole up there with a bunch of sweet gum and junk in it, and it didn't burn through very well. We've actually had some better burns than this since this. Had a really good burn 2 weeks ago. But you can see where it stops on the hardwood bottom down there. But even as, trying to run that head fire, I never scorched a needle on these trees. And same thing, it's greened up. It'll look better next summer when it gets a full summer's worth of growth on it. But it's still a shady stand. A lot of timber out here. The other thing we're trying to get is capture a little bit of this natural longleaf scattered around in here. There's an occasional adult longleaf in here. If they do throw some seeds this summer, this fall, might give us a chance to capture a little bit of it. But anyway, like I say, it just stops at these hardwood drains. Same thing, a lot of this sumac is just not resprouted at the base. Little oaks, you can see every once in a while be a sweet gum that resprouts. A little oak tree here or there, but there's maybe more mortality than we're used to on some of this sweet gum sprouts. There's some resprouting there. Maybe we'll eventually get rid of it, especially if we throw a little arsenal on it.